It's never too late to find love. And on today's show, we meet an eternal optimist who, in her very public quest to find it, has discovered the true meaning of that elusive four-letter word.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Besner, solo in the city, your dating coach and socialista. I like to consider myself your guide to the city of places you can go, meet new people, and have a lot of fun doing it.
Cheryl, thank you so much for being on the couch today.
Well, thank you, Cindy, for inviting me.
My pleasure, especially on this rainy morning. I'm glad you could make it.
Yeah, but two power women sitting on a power couch, right?
That's it, exactly. And we have a lot of fun things to discuss today.
Yeah, I think we do.
You have stumbled into quite an interesting career.
Well, it's a journey, even
It's a
more than
journey.
a career.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it was a life-changing experience, and it all started with getting divorced, actually.
Getting divorced. Okay,
Yeah.
so take us back to 3 years ago, or 2.5, before starting 365 days.
Oh my gosh. Married 25 years, 3 children, a career in the fashion industry as well as producing events,
Okay.
and deciding I was ready to start dating. And I was already being social, but I was ready, I thought, to meet somebody, and there's a big
Okay.
part of it. And I said, well, I wonder, what's the best avenue for me? And people gave me so much advice, but I didn't really know what would work for me, other than being social, which
Right.
I was very much part of the community and the philanthropic community of Montreal, which brought me out a lot, as well as the events.
Okay.
And then I was approached by a matchmaker
Oh.
overseas who said,
How did they find you?
well, actually, it was very funny because a friend of mine said, you know what, you need a matchmaker. Here's the one you should be using. And,
Okay.
you're going to find somebody very cosmopolitan, very international, who can keep up with your tempo type of thing.
Okay.
And because I love to travel and experience and meet new people.
Mm-hmm.
So I contacted them, and you don't really get past the front page of this particular company. It's called Gray and Farrar of
Okay.
London. And they ask you just to submit your name and your email address. And then if they think you're, somebody that they can match up, they'll contact you. And I guess they do it through Google, and they check out
They
who you
search.
are. And they approached me en route to New York with a girlfriend who I was busy driving with, giving her all kinds of dating advice. She's like, you're so smart, like when it comes to this. And I say, it's just instinct. You have to kind of know who you are and know
Right.
how to mingle and socialize, and it makes it a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to help her write her profile to get onto Match. And I
Oh,
said, I
okay.
wonder what the difference would be between the guy you might meet through a high-end matchmaker
Right.
and Match.com. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to try both, and I'm going to write about
Right.
it.
That's a very scientific approach. You're like, let's test this.
We got to test it, and there's many different scientific companies out there who can help you find love as well
Right.
through algorithms. I just did a show on that, actually. But what was interesting was by the time we got to New York, I decided I was going to write 365 Days to Find Love.
Okay.
And the reason was because all matchmakers, or most matchmakers, ask you to sign a 1-year contract. So I figured I would do
Oh.
it with myself.
Okay.
And I kind of went off on this journey, and within 6 weeks, I had a full-blown campaign behind me to launch this blog
wow.
and media, and Gallery 203 hosted a party here for me, along
Yes.
with the people from Buena Notte, and it became this real celebration
Right.
of me getting out there again and trying something new. And the first thing I did was fall in love with writing.
Okay.
I had never written before. I didn't even know I could. And then it just steamrolled. Like within a couple months, I said, you know what? There's nobody out there being the hub of information for solos.
Right.
And wouldn't it be great to have one place to go in any city and know what's going on and who the matchmakers are?
Bringing the information together.
Bringing the information together. So I kind of started dabbling in it. And somebody in the industry, he actually started Lavalife. His name is Shamandi.
Okay.
he said, why don't you learn everything you can about the dating world and see if there's a niche there for yourself and ways in which you want to express yourself. And I did. I threw myself in during that 365 days to find love, besides dating, which actually became...
That's part of the research.
Well, the thing is, though, it was difficult to date at the beginning because, a lot of men didn't know if they were an experiment, if I really wanted to meet somebody, which I did, and I kept at it, and it was a year of discovery, and through that year, I realized that's the first step. You know, when you're an individual, and especially if you've been in a long-term marriage, and you find yourself back out solo, there's so much to learn about the dating world, but also about yourself as an individual. You're not a mother anymore. You're not a wife anymore. You still are mother if you have children, but you have another priority as well, and that becomes yourself and finding yourself.
And the dating scene may change since you were in it before, you know?
Like it's night and day.
It's constantly evolving.
Well, when I was single before, I call it the dyslexic. I was 52 when I was back in the dating world, and I was 25 when I left the dating world. So I thought it was my dyslexic dating age. And what happened was, I didn't even have a phone back then. You know, never mind texting and online dating. That didn't exist. You know, you met the guy next door. And now you can meet the guy in the next continent with online dating.
That's true.
Yeah. So it was a real growth year. And then at the end of the year, everybody said, now what? You know, it was Valentine's Day. And they said, what are you going to do to mark, you know, year one being over? And I said, well, I'm going to be solo in the city. So
that was the next chapter.
That was the next chapter. And it was how to be solo in the city and how to be good with it within ourselves. And then how to go out there and meet new people.
Right. And I mean, there was a bit of that in 365 days. So what is the big difference between the first chapter, which was that, and the second chapter, which is now Solo in the City?
365 days was my journey of exploration. And it was about finding all kinds of love. And I found a lot of different loves about who I am, developed certain things about what I wanted for myself, what I wanted for the people around me, what I wanted to contribute to the community, which was knowing that a lot of people out there, and that's what I found out at the end of that first year, was I was asked to be a speaker and do a workshop at the Vivre en Solo show here in Montreal. And when I started meeting people and at my booth and everything, they went, well, we love how social you are. How do you do that? And I said, well, I can help you with that. You know, there's ways. Everybody can be more social. Everybody can find the information. And if you can't, I'll help you do it. So there was a natural flow and a natural transition. And through that, I found the voice that I wanted to and what I wanted to contribute. So it went from my personal search for love, not only in the metaphorical, you know, like I took it one step further. It took me one step further, actually. And I found a new love for connecting people, which is always what I did before. Like even when I was in the event business, it was always usually for foundations where I would connect suppliers and sponsors and benefactors and put them together and introduce them to each other. And now I get to introduce people to each other. In not a matchmaker way, though. Ways in which you can explore yourself and then explore the dating and social world. That's really what I want to do.
Because it definitely starts with yourself before you can really find someone else or find love in or with someone else. You have to love yourself first.
Well, you do. And you also have a learning curve. And that learning curve is, how am I going to, you know, especially for people who are divorced or a little bit older, or even people who have never been married. Well, if you haven't met somebody yet and you haven't found a way to incorporate them into your life, maybe there's something that is within you that either you really don't want somebody in your life, or you're not making time for your own relationship, you know. So it's a matter of really looking at all the different aspects and sometimes changing our patterns, which is a big
think
part
it's
of
a
it.
big
No,
part,
it's
yes.
huge.
We're so
You know?
stuck in our routine.
We're
and
stuck in our
we see the
routine.
same people, we hang out in the same places, and then we wonder why we haven't met anyone new.
That's right. And that's one of the things that I realized when in that first year, I took my coaching. I got my coaching certificate from a company in New York. And it's one of the things that I realized that people just are so stuck. We're stuck, yet we move so fast. And the two of them are just crashing at each other because we're stuck in this community that we live in, and most people work within a 5-block radius. And yet, at the same time, we're online and everything is swipe right, swipe left. There might be something better tomorrow. We go online, we search 10 different sites to buy a pair of shoes, and it happens in an instant.
Right.
And then we're worried, should I press that button and order those shoes? Or go out with that person? Or maybe somebody's better tomorrow.
Right.
Or I'll try them because I can return it. I mean, it's this vicious cycle that we're in. And I think that's what I learned a lot about the dating world.
Okay. And now with Solo in the City, you're meeting all these matchmakers. What can you tell me about them? First of all, I didn't know there were so many.
Oh my goodness. I mean, first of all, this is $1 billion industry, the dating world. It's insane. I've gone to meet a lot of people at conferences,
Okay.
who are in the dating world. Matchmakers, think about it. That's how people got married. When marriage was starting, when that institution was implemented, you were married off to somebody.
Right.
And I mean, there's even that TV show now that is marrying you, what's called Married at the Altar or something like that.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I don't even remember the name of it. But sometimes the science is even stronger than the emotional, because sometimes we get caught up in emotions and lust and our wants rather than what we need.
Right.
I've realized that for myself. A lot of the things that I thought I wanted in a relationship is not what I need in a relationship. And when I work with clients, that's the first thing that I break down very fast.
Okay.
What
do
is
you
it
need?
you need? Forget the wants. I mean, the wants are the
We want
icing.
a lot of things.
And you know what? We're all entitled to that whipping cream and the cherry on top, and we want that, right?
Right.
But really, it's the ice cream down below that sustains
That's
us,
the
right? It's
important
like, yeah,
part.
we go to the ice cream parlor. We don't go to the whipping cream parlor. So it's the same thing in the dating world. So yes, there is a litany of matchmakers in every city, and what I do is I try and help you find the one that would have the best chance of having somebody within their organization that would work for you.
Okay.
That's part of the consultation and the coaching that I do with people,
Okay.
is what's going to work for you. And people don't even think that. It could be as simple as, if you like to play tennis. Well, maybe you have to change tennis clubs. Go somewhere else. And,
Right.
there's a whole bunch of new tennis players at that club, that might be the one.
So
Or
you
just
help guide people to the right matchmaker, or maybe small changes in their lifestyle
That's
that
right.
can optimize their chances.
That's it. It's all about optimization. And then also I do, well, you were asking, so Soul in the City now also has a radio show as
Right.
well on Saturday nights at 10, as well as I do a segment on Dr. Lori Petito's Passion Show on Friday
Yes,
nights.
Oh, I love her. I've
She's
interviewed
amazing.
her before.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's an amazing woman. She actually helped me get on radio. She was the trigger that said, you know what, I love what you're doing with Solo in the City. The KISS calendar, which is keeping it simply social, telling people what's going on in the city every single week, where they can go and meet new people, posting what's out there for people as far as events, as far as new restaurant openings. Something as simple as, if you like art, go to a vernissage. If you don't like art but might find it fascinating or interesting to learn
Right.
something, go to a vernissage. There's always events going on. So
Right.
we do that on Friday nights on her show, and then on my show also we do a KISS calendar. And that's the other thing, get out there.
Right.
Get
So
out,
this is
get
really,
out, get social.
it's really growing, and now the radio show is going on the road.
That's right. This week we're going to be heading out to the road and starting to do remotes. And that's really what I want, is to bring people to somewhere to
Okay.
meet each other. And sometimes it's about sending people to a matchmaker, sending people to a dating site, sending people to an event. And then other times it'll be about, come on out. Let's do
Right.
this together. Let's keep flying solo together and
So if you're at a location for the show, for the radio show, people will go there and mingle, like it'd be like a singles mingle type
Well,
of thing?
it will be go to the restaurant because,
Okay.
you know, it doesn't always have to be about singles. And
Okay.
that's one of the things that I also talk about is I called it solo in the city, not single in the city, because we're all solo.
Okay.
And often what makes for the most interesting evenings out is to combine solos with couples. And the reason is also that, you know, you recently got married. Now, you were saying that you met your husband
Yes,
through
through a
somebody.
friend.
Okay. In a lot of cases, that friend might be a married couple who will introduce you to one of their single friends because
Right.
all married couples want you married.
That's so true.
You know, it's like,
I'm
and
always
so
trying
does
to
your
set up
aunts
my
and your
friends.
grandmothers, and you know, so everybody wants you married. So, you know, it's just natural to keep people going, and it's also solo in the city is also meant for people who are traveling. If you end up in New York and you want to know where can I go tonight,
Right.
that has a great counter where I can sit at the bar and have dinner or lunch and talk to people around me. Yeah, that's how you meet people.
Okay. So what is one of your top advice for someone looking for love?
Top advice, call me.
That's a good one. There you have it.
There you go. I would say be open to possibilities.
Okay.
That's the first thing. As far as dating, I always say your first date, keep it short, keep it simple, 45 minutes or under.
Oh,
Keep
okay.
it to an activity. If it's great, it leaves you wanting more. He'll be anxious to call you. If you're a man, be the man. If you're a woman, be the woman. And like I said, it's all about keeping it short,
Right.
and then get to that second date. Give somebody that want and desire to have that second date, and that's where you can sit down and have longer conversations. And the other thing is, if it's not a great encounter, it's 45 minutes.
Right.
You're out.
Perfect.
You know, don't drag things on, and that's something that people tend to do in relationships. They get involved, and if they really want a relationship, they might stay in something that's
Right.
not good for them.
Right, for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, that's a want rather than a need. You know.
And through this journey of yours, and I mean, you've fallen in love with writing, with connecting people. You found love in all these different kind of ways.
I know where
so-
this is going. All right.
You know where I'm going with
I
it.
know where you're going with it. You know what? It was all out an interesting journey. I did meet somebody right before I launched 365 Days to Find Love, and I told him like on the third date, I realized like I like this person, and he has to know what I'm about to do. So I told him, and he was like heading for the hills, right? He
Right.
was like, okay, this is not
See
for
you
me.
later.
See you later. Does that mean you're going to go out with all different men? I was like, you know what? I don't know the answers to this. Like, I didn't expect to meet you.
Right.
Anyway, it didn't work out, and P.S. we are friends now.
Okay.
And
Good.
I did have a lot of interesting people that I've met along the way, and had a couple relationships, mostly long distance, which for me didn't work out to
Okay.
date. And I think that had a lot to do with the business, and I was constantly moving and traveling, and,
Right.
and that's where I was meeting people. I did recently meet somebody.
Oh.
Yes, I did. And I don't know where it's going. You know, it's 6 months.
Okay.
I'm in the next stage of relating, dating, and mating. And that's,
Okay.
I'm now in what I consider an exclusive relationship. And it took me a while to get there because
Okay.
I don't believe in rushing into things.
Right. Everyone has their own pace.
We have our own paces, and we have to respect each other's paces. We have to also respect each other's scheduling, I mean,
Right.
and priorities, you know,
Right.
especially again, at my stage, I have 3 children. I
Mm-hmm.
have a business that is budding, that I adore, that I really
Right.
want to syndicate the show and bring that website, you know, that hub to every single city.
Right.
So no matter where you are, you can go onto Solo in the City and find out what's going on and who can help you in your city.
Right.
And these are my priorities right now. So I met somebody, and we have now entered, as I said, this exclusive
Okay.
relationship, and we're going to see where it goes, you know, from there. And I met him at a restaurant that you would not, you know, normally
Really?
think. I was sitting having dinner with my son
Okay.
at Moisha's Steakhouse, which is, you know, a real family or businessman's
Right.
kind of establishment. And we were sitting there very casually having dinner, but I saw this person, and you know what?
Was he sitting alone?
He was sitting alone. And he had the perfect smile, and he had the
Aw.
perfect energy to attract somebody. And that's
Right.
one of the things I always say
That
to
makes a
people.
big difference.
Step out of your house every day, own it, own yourself, and smile. Like, put out the
Yes.
energy that you want people to see. It's your best foot forward, because you never know when you're going to meet the person
Right.
that you might want to have a relationship with, right? You never know.
You never know.
You never know. So I noticed his smile, and it wasn't towards me, it was just in general. He was just smiling at everybody, and I could see the way the staff at the restaurant was gravitating towards him. They were like totally enthralled by him. And I was like, you know what? That's good energy, you know? And when my son, so we did the little flirt, you know? And there's ways in which you can definitely attract
Right.
somebody's
It's all
attention.
in the
and
eyes.
It's all in the eyes. And my eyes were saying, what are you waiting for? When are you coming to my table? And the minute my son got up to go to the washroom, he approached the table.
Okay. Oh, good. At least he was tactful.
Oh, he was
Good.
tactful and bold also, you know. And he came over and introduced himself to me, and
And the rest is
and-
history.
well, no, he disappeared because he's not from Montreal.
Oh,
Here
it's
we
true,
go
it's
again.
true.
He's not
Okay.
from Montreal, so he disappeared, and I didn't hear from him for 7 or 8 months, and then he called me. He was coming to town, and interesting also for him, he was solo.
Okay.
And he had just broken up with somebody when we met a few months before at that initial dinner. And he realized that he had to take time to settle himself from that relationship before getting into something. And like, he didn't know about whether or not we would date, not date, be in a relationship. But he knew that he was attracted enough for his head to even say, I think I'd like to take this woman out more seriously than just a coffee.
Right.
And he waited till he was ready for it. And then he called me up and he asked me out to dinner. And I said, I would gladly meet you for a short drink. And that's what we did.
You followed your own advice.
100%. I mean, look, that 365 Days to Find Love was all about creating my boundaries.
Right.
And that's what people have to do. You have to create your boundaries. You have to create your ideals,
Right.
and then be true to them.
Right.
And that's going to make for the best relationship. And
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
well, thank you.
And I'm curious to see if this will eventually turn into, not just finding love and finding the people who can help you find love, but how to maintain relationships. I feel like that'll be potentially the next step.
Well, you never know. I mean, it's one step at a time. Right now, I think that I've found something that I'm passionate about, or it found me. Like, I really do believe this just kind of found me,
Right.
but I listened to myself and I kept going with it. And even when I was at 365 and I was frustrated sometimes with blogging, or like, do I have to blog again today? I pushed myself, and when I doubted myself whether or not I could do a radio show, because I've never done radio before. I've never done something so public on,
Right.
on a regular basis. But I never stop. Like, I just keep going,
Keep going.
because I think that there's something out there. And I know what it is that I want to create with Solo, and I know what I want to give to the cities.
Right.
I mean, I have not an expectation, but an adoration of the
Right.
idea of doing something like this globally, and letting people around the world find
I
what
love
they
it.
need.
I love it, and I love your energy.
Thank
and
you.
You're so optimistic, and I hope everything works out with your new relationship, and I hope you
It
can
will
keep me
be what-
posted on that.
It will, the relationship will be what it will be for the
Right.
moment. I have no expectations, but I have a desire to keep seeing this person and exploring, who we are together and who he is as an individual, and not compromising who I am. And that's important.
Well, thank you for sharing, and
Thank
thank you
you.
for being on the couch today. And
Thank you. It's a really
With
comfy
all-
couch.
it's
I like
comfy,
it.
right?
I think I need one of these at home.
Thank you so much. And thank you to you guys for joining us on another episode of Couch Talk. And make sure you join us for the next one.